Let's start on time.
Yay.
Jewish time or New York time?
Not New York.
Okay, Okay, good morning, everybody. As we start the portion of the class week, the Parsha Ba'ata Tetzava. This class is a beautiful sikh of the Rebbe, which is when is your real birthday, and fascinating class on the concept of a birthday, the real aspect of one's birthday, and what is the purpose of celebrating a birthday, and when should we really celebrate our birthdays, and how does it connect all to this week, the portion of Ata Tetzava and in the Hebrew calendar that we are holding right now. Today is the 9th day of Adar. The 9th day of Adar, the Adar number 1. And we just passed the 7th of Adar, a very important day in the Hebrew calendar. It is the birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, the first leader of the Jewish nation, the one who took the Jews out of Mitzrayim. We continue to call him Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. We find something fascinating. Since the beginning of Shemos, take a book. Don't be shy. You take a book. Don't take a book. Okay. From the beginning of the portion of Shemos until the end of the book about Devarim, we are on page 83. Text number 1, from the beginning of time till the end, till the Jewish people went into the land of Israel, every portion is mentioned Moshe Rabbeinu. Moses is mentioned hundreds of times in the Torah. He's mentioned from the beginning of, as I said, from the beginning of Shemos, besides this week's Parsha. Yata Tetzava. And this week is not mentioned at all Moshe Rabbeinu. And why is he not mentioned this week's Parsha? Because in a couple of weeks from today, actually, next week's Parsha, I believe, when the Torah talks about the golden calf, the making of the golden calf, and God wants to destroy the Jewish people, we have the verse next week, chapter 32, verse number 32, student book 83, text number 1. If you forgive the sin good, if you do not forgive the sin, I want you to erase me from the book which you have written. I want you to erase my name from the book. So the Zohar says in text number 2, who is greater than Moshe, who says, but if not, erase me from the book that you have written. Moses says this for a good reason. And God even granted his request. Yet he's not spared from punishment. Moshe Rabbeinu, even though God says, I'm going to forgive the Jewish people, but God punishes him. Moshe asked for his name to be erased, and indeed his name is erased and is not mentioned in Parsha Tetzava. So the entire portion of the Ata Tetzava is not mentioned Moshe Rabbeinu's name. His name is mentioned. You have a book? You want? You can take a book. I have books. Oh, you have. The entire is not mentioned Moshe Rabbeinu's name. It's mentioned in the word Va'ata, and you will command the Jewish people. So you is Moshe Rabbeinu, but it doesn't mention his name. The question is, why is not mentioned specifically in this week's Parsha? Why did the Torah pick the entire, out of all the portions of the week, why did the Torah pick this week's Parsha? So we know Menachem of Chernobyl said that I said today is the 7th, the 8th, 9th day of Adar. Zion Adar is the birthday of Moshe and the passing of Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu lived 120 years, day to day.
Wow. How do they know that?
They know that. I was soon see. That's proven. Moshe Rabbeinu was born on the 7th of Adar, and he passed on the 7th of Adar. 120 years later. So the Parsha, the Tzava, falls in the week of the 7th of Adar. Just 2 days ago was 7th of Adar, the day that Moshe Rabbeinu passed. And so his name is not mentioned in the Parsha. Because even though it's his birthday, but it's also the day of his yahrzeit. And especially this year, the difference between a birthday and a yahrzeit is that on a leap year like this year have 2 Adars. So we actually celebrate the yahrzeit on the 1st of Adar, and we celebrate a birthday on the 2nd of Adar, on the 2nd Adar. For example, my birthday is the 25th day of Adar. I wasn't born on a leap year. So my birthday is next month, the 25th of Adar. If you want to give me a present, you can give me a present on the 1st and the 2nd of Adar. I'll take it double. But my birthday is, I celebrate on the 2nd of Adar, the 2nd Adar.
What's the first?
What's
What
the
was Moshe celebrating?
Moshe, but the yahrzeit is celebrated on the 1st of Adar. Unless you were born on an Adar Aleph, Adar Beis. But if you're born on regular Adar, you celebrate the birthday on the 1st of Adar. You celebrate, on the 2nd month of Adar. You celebrate the yahrzeit on the first month of Adar. But since Moshe Rabbeinu this year celebrates his yahrzeit on the 1st of Adar, that's this past Tuesday was the 7th of Adar. The yahrzeit, and his birthday is going to be celebrated on the 7th of Adar in the 2nd month. But the truth is, we don't celebrate Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday. We celebrate his yahrzeit. And there are things that certain people do on the 7th. It's a fast day. To some people, it's a fast day. On the 7th of Adar, because of Moshe Rabbeinu's yahrzeit, his day of passing. Passed away on the 7th of Adar. And that's why you have text 4. Somebody asked over here, how do we know that he passed away on the 7th of Adar? So in text number 4a, page 85, the Gemara says, see? Faye, you're like a Gemara Talmudic scholar. How do we know that he died on the 7th of Adar? It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah when Moshe Rabbeinu died. Doesn't give it the date of death. It says in the Torah that Moshe, the servant of God, passed away there in Deuteronomy, it says, and it's written. So it goes on. And then it's written, the Jewish people cried for Moshe Rabbeinu in the plains of Moab for 30 days. Another passage says, now come to pass after the death of Moshe, the servant of God, it's written, pass through the midst of the camp and command the people, saying, prepare your provisions, because you will cross the Jordan in 3 days. So that's 30 days and 3 days. It's 30 days later, 33 days later. And what does it say? And the people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th of the first month. As they came, Yud Nisan, they came to Israel, Yud Nisan, the 10th of the first month. Now subtract 33 days from the 10th of Nisan, and you're going to come to the 7th of Adar. Okay? 33 days. So 30 days would be the 10th. Tomorrow is the 10th of Adar. 30 days later would be the 10th of Nisan, because Adar is a 30-day month. So the 30 days later would be the 10th of Nisan. I'm sorry, it would be the 30 days later would be the 10th of, right? The 30 days later would be the 10th of Nisan. It's 33 days. So you have the 7th of Adar. Now subtract 30 days from the 10th of Nisan to the 7th of Adar. It's 33 days. They mourned for 3 days, 30 days. 3 days later, they came into the land of Israel. So that's what you have, the 7th of Adar, he passed away. Okay, so we know that the 7th of Adar, he passed away. Doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that. We deduct, the Gemara deducts it. So we know that 33 days after his passing, the Jewish people came into the land of Israel. When was 33 days later? The 10th of Nisan. So from the 7th of Adar to the 10th of Nisan, it's 33 days. But they didn't come in 30 days because they mourned for him for 30 days. And then 3 days later, they came into the land of Israel, they crossed the Jordan. Okay? So we know that he passed away the 7th of Adar. How do we know that he was born on the 7th of Adar? The Gemara asks the same question. How do we know he was born on the 7th of Adar? The Gemara text number 4b, page 86. How do we know that on the 7th day Moshe Rabbeinu was born? Because it says in the book, Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people the day he died. It doesn't say the day of the month. It says, today I'm 120 years old. And today I'm going to die. I cannot do any more of my job. I'm done. I completed my journey. I'm 120 years old. I cannot do my job anymore. I'm giving it over to Joshua. Hasta la vista. I will see you later. He says today is I'm 120 years old. I've completed my job. Comes to teach us that the Eibishter fills. God sits and completes the years of a righteous person from day to day, from month to month. And it stated the number of days I will fill. Moshe Rabbeinu had exactly, when the Eibush said a person, after the flood, God said a person will live 120 years. Moshe Rabbeinu lived 120 years, day to day, month to month. Born on Zion Adar, 120 years before, passed away 120 years later, completed his mission. The Yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu, Zion of Adar. Born on Zion of Adar, passed away on Zion of Adar. This week, Tuesday, past Tuesday, is the Yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. 120 years in this world. Moshe Rabbeinu changed the world. Not only changed the world in general, but surely to Yidden. Moshe Rabbeinu, that's what we call him, Moshe Rabbeinu. Like come Navi Moshe, there's no greater leader, the Jewish nation, a prophet like Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe ad Moshe, like come to Moshe. From Moshe to Moshe, nobody stood up like Moshe. And Moshe continues to inspire Yidden throughout history until today. We live Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe, the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to the Jewish nation. We live by it until today. Who was Moshe Rabbeinu that we celebrate his Yortzeit? It's a day, the Shulchan Aruch says, that these days, look at text number 5, in Shulchan Aruch, these days are when tragedy occurs to our ancestor, it's appropriate to fast. We should all really fast on Zion Adar. On the 7th of Adar, the day Moshe, our teacher, blessed man, he passed away. I said a lot of people fast on this day, but we associate it, actually, it's known, most Jews don't fast on Zion Adar, but the Chevra Kadisha, the burial society, throughout history, have taken on a fast day. So if you're part of a Chevra Kadisha, if you're not part of Chevra Kadisha, you wouldn't know this. But the Chevra Kadisha fasts once a year, and they fast on Zion Adar. So if you were a part of a Chevra Kadisha, a burial society, then you would have fasted on Zion Adar. You would have fasted on this past Tuesday. So they took on Zion Adar as their day, their fast day, because you know that the whole Avelus, the aspect of mourning 7 days was a tikkun, was a takana that Moshe Rabbeinu did. He was masakin. Moshe Rabbeinu was masakin. He established 7 days of celebration for a bridegroom and 7 days of mourning for a mourner. And he was the one who brought these two takanas, the aspect of of celebrating 7 days for a marriage and 7 days for mourning for a mourner was Moshe Rabbeinu's takana, his enactment, and therefore that's one of the reasons why the Chava Kadisha established it as the day of their mourning. So it's fascinating that we establish, we celebrate, so to say, it's a day of mourning, the seventh day of Adar, where really it should be a day of celebration for Moshe, the day of his birth. Why are we not celebrating his birth? We're celebrating his mourning. Why are we celebrating his passing when we should be really celebrating his birth? Shouldn't it be the birthday, be the holiday of Zayin Adar? Today, okay, this year maybe it's a good question because his birthday is next month. But if not in this year, it should be really a day of celebration. It's a day of birth. Why are we not celebrating his birthday? Why are we celebrating his yahrzeit or remembering, memorializing his yahrzeit? Go a step further with this, because the whole holiday of Purim happened in this month. In a couple of weeks, we're having Purim Katan. In a regular year, Purim would be around the corner in less than 8 days, right? Purim is on the 14th and 15th of the month. We will be celebrating Purim. Why did Purim happen on this month? Why was this month the holiday of Purim? Oh, no, because of Haman. It happened the holiday of Purim because of Haman. Actually, the miracle of Esther happened. Anybody know when the miracle of Esther happened, that she spoke to the king and turned around the decree? Anybody know when that happened exactly? It happened the first night of Passover. That's when actually Purim, the miracle of Purim happened, where the whole thing was changed, was on Passover, actually. That's what happened. Ultimately, the decree was on Purim. The decree was on Adar. The decree wasn't Adar. The decree of destruction of the Jews was the following Adar after that Passover situation. So that's why it says that he sent out letters that in Adar the Jews can fight for their lives. So that happened a year later. Not a year later, but almost a year later. Adar and Pesach come together. Purim and Passover are interconnected. Connection between these two holidays, Purim and Passover. Not only that women get nervous when Purim comes, you know that in 30 days is Passover. Right? Exactly 30 days is Passover. But there's a spiritual connection. There's a spiritual connection with these two holidays. One came from God, Passover, and one came through the tshuva, the repentance of the Jewish people, the holiday of Purim. But why did everything, the Purim happen on Adar? Why on Adar? Because the name Purim, we say it in the Megillah. Haman made a lottery. He made a lottery which month he should kill the Jews. Right? That's why it's called Purim. And the lottery fell on Adar. So the Gemara says, look in text number 6a, the Gemara says in Megillah, the verse states, Haman cast a lottery, a lot, and we are told the lot fell in the month of Adar. And Haman was happy. Why? He said, the lot fell for me in the month of Moses' passing. So he was happy. He says, look, my lottery worked. Why? Because it fell in the month of Adar. And Moses passed away in the month. It's a sad month. It's an interesting thing. The Gemara continues and says, however, he didn't know that Moses passed away in the month of Adar and was born in the month of Adar. What?
Oh, no, it's.
So he didn't realize, Haman didn't realize, you're right, Moses passed away in the month of Adar, but Moses was also born in the month of Adar. It's interesting. It's interesting. If you look at the word in the Gemara, it says, Amar, Nafali Por Biyarach Shemeis by Moshe. You have it in front of you if you have the book, 87. He knew that he was died in the month of Adar. Why doesn't he say that? That we know already. But he didn't know on the seventh day he was born. He didn't know that on the seventh day he was born, he died. He didn't know that in the seventh day he died. He didn't know. He didn't, and on the seventh day he was born. I'm going to come back to that wording of the Gemara because it's a very interesting wording that the Gemara uses. So, it's because the Gemara is contradicting itself. It says, because it fell in the month of Adar, he was happy because Moshe Rabbeinu died. And then he says, he didn't know Moshe Rabbeinu died in the month of Adar, and he was born in the month of Adar. So that sounds like we did know. He did know that he died, and he was happy about it. Okay, we'll come back to that wording in a moment. So what does the Gemara say? You're right, Moshe Rabbeinu died in the month of Adar. It's a sad day. I said it's a fast day. He really was right. Haman was right. It's a good month to kill the Jews. It's a sad month. But he didn't realize that he was born on it. So what? He still died on it. What does the born accomplish over his death? Gemara answers, Rashi answers the birth, Kedai Haleda, that's text 6b in page 88. Kedai Haleda sheteschap alamisa. The birth is worthy enough to wipe clean the effects of past. What does that mean? What does it mean that the birth, what is the meaning of Rashi? That the birth is worth it, and it should clean the effects of his passing. So to understand this statement and to understand what is the meaning that Moshe Rabbeinu, he died and he was born on the same day. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of a person that dies? What does it mean? That's said before. The Eibishter counts the days of a tzaddik. So not all tzaddikim die in the day they were born. Moshe Rabbeinu died on the day he was born. Hillel lived 100. We know a couple of great sages at the times of the Gemara that died on the day they were Hillel, Yochanan Zakkai. They were born on the day they died. They lived also 120 years. It's not only the born and day they die, but if you live 120 years, now you got a complete package. A completed package.
Their journey, they completed their mission.
Right. What does that mean? What does that mean when somebody completes his mission? Moshe Rabbeinu completed a mission. He says, today I've completed my mission. I've done my mission in the world. What is the meaning of that statement? What is the meaning? What is the connection between a person that's born to the dying person that dies?
Satisfy Hashem's reason.
Can anybody know that? Anybody really know that today I've completed my mission? I've accomplished my mission. But we'll come to that. Let's try to understand this. So to understand it, really, that Moshe Rabbeinu, his date of death and his date of his birthday was not a personal issue. Was not a personal. By us, Moshe Rabbeinu's birth and the day of his passing is something that affects us until today. Something that it transforms until today. And the truth is, that's why Purim happens upon the world. Purim happened because of that. And it happened it happens continuously from time Moshe Rabbeinu was born and he died. It happens till today. And it's something we should all know. Look at text number 7. The Gemara says, when the month of Adar comes in, we have to be happy. In which way should our happiness be ultimately come into a reality? So the Gemara gives an analogy, a very practical thing, the Gemara says. Amar Papa says, Hilkach Bar Yisrael. If you want to know what it means that you should be happy, so the Gemara says, Bar Yisrael the Islay didn't bahadi nachli. If a Jew has a court case with a non-Jew, the Meitzi Nafshi Bada, he should have the court case in the month of Adar. The Bar Mazle. The month of Adar is a transforming month. It's an interesting thing. The Gemara brings in this kind of an analogy, right? It could be because those days, the times of the Romans, the Gemara, they were under the tyranny of Rome, and it was a very unethical and unjust kind of a situation. And any kind of court case would have been transformed against Jews. That was 100% of a loss. You would never be able to win. But the Gemara says, if you want to, the month of Adar, you'll lose 11 months of the year. The month of Adar, you are for sure going to win. There's going to be something that's going to happen above the natural phenomena. You want to have a transforming situation? You and any person in their life, if they want to have a transforming time of total transformation, this is the month. And that's why the Gemara gives you an analogy, something that is supernatural. In that time, in the times of our Papa, it was a supernatural situation. You needed to come up to a supernatural thing. It was not in a natural way to win a court case in those times. Today it's different, Baruch Hashem. Those days, you needed to have a miracle to win in such a situation. So therefore, our Papa says, this month is a supernatural month.
Do you mean Adar, both Adars, or just Adar?
This year, both Adars. This year is 60 days. 60 days. We have an extra month. So the Gemara says, this is a supernatural month. Accomplished that this month should be a supernatural month. And the Gemara wants to make it very practical. That you shouldn't think this is the spiritual, right? The Papa says, I'm not talking in the spirits. I'm talking practical. You never win. We can never win in a non-Jewish court in 11 months. This month, or like this year, 60 days, you're going to win. There's going to be a supernatural event going to happen.
We should all go out and buy lottery tickets.
Yep.
This is it.
Yep.
So it's supernatural according to anything, or only to could it apply to anything?
Anything. Look at it. Look at it says. So that's the text number.
Money, Parnasa, anything?
Anything. Look at text number 8. So that's why the Megillah says, you don't realize the power of the next 60 days. Actually, not next 60 days. We're already 9 days into it. A month was reversed for them from grief to joy, from mourning to festival, to make them days of feasting. This is a chodesh hahipuch. This month is a transforming month. And the truth is, that's why these 2 months are interconnected, because the month of Adar is a transforming month. The month of Nisan is a redemption, a Doncha redemption. So they go together. They go together. So it's not only Purim. So in essence, Purim was transfixed on Purim. He was transfixed also ultimately on the 14th day of the month. The truth is that until the 14th day of the month, in the story of Purim, if you know the history of Purim, on the 13th and the 12th, 13th, there was a battle. Jews were in battle with the Persians. It was not the greatest situation. But ultimately on the 14th, the 15th day of the month, the 14th day of the month, Vinahapa. But ultimately, it not only was it a transfixed on one day, but it was the whole month. Halacha says it's the whole month from the beginning. Mishenichnas Adar, not on the 14th day, from the 14th and on. No, Mishenichnas Adar. When the month of Adar comes in, here the Eibishter gives a month that is total transformation. Try it out. In essence, the halacha says, try it out. See if it will be a miraculous situation. See if you're going to have a miraculous situation. The Eibishter says, try it out. Try it out. The only way you can try it out is through simcha. Through simcha. You have to do it through simcha. Simcha is the key. Right? Simcha, joy is the key. The key is through simcha. That's the key to the month. So that's why it says, Rashi says, these were days of miracles for the Jewish people, Purim and Pesach. That is the connection. So Purim and Pesach are interconnected. There are days of Nisim, days of miracles, miraculous days. And because the miraculous days, then we have not only 1 month, we have 2 months. This year we have 3 months. Interconnected to be able to accomplish things that you couldn't accomplish in the rest of the year. Yes, Jenny, what's your question? A question? Jenny, you have a question? Yes.
I actually have two questions. One is that, question number one is that, we learn like with Pesach and different holidays that like because it's a time of redemption, maybe you said this and I missed it, or it's like you can free yourself from bondage. So that helped us get out of Egypt. So I guess question number one is, was there something that allowed the Jews to be saved in that month? Some sort of energy that allowed
exactly. 100%. Yes.
Wait 1 second. Number two is, could you just define simcha, please? Okay.
That is simcha. Define simcha.
No, because simcha, popular culture is not the same as it is Jewishly, and I'm never completely sure of the difference.
Simcha is joy.
Yeah.
Plain joy. Joy. Unbridled joy. Shal mitzvah. Be joyful not because of a thing. Be joyful for who you are. Yehudim haisa oira v'simcha. V'sasem v'yikarim. We say it every Saturday night, which is also the Megillah. By Yehudim haisa oira, to the Jewish nation was light, v'simcha, and joy, and sasem is gladness. V'yikarim, beauty. Yehudim haisa oira v'simcha, the concept of for being, and that's you'll soon see in a second. It could be connected actually to this concept. Well, let's go through the Sikha. So the truth is that the Nes of Purim, look at how the Rebbe says it. So really the truth is the 7th of Adar brought about the miracle of Purim. He was happy to make Purim on the 14th of Adar because Moshe Rabbeinu died in this month. He knew he died. He didn't know that he was born. But about the miracle of Purim in Adar, the fact that Haman's lottery fell in Adar nullified Haman's decree for this month, which is why the miracle of Purim happened in Adar. On the 7th of Adar, the Redeemer of the Jewish people was born, who ultimately liberated the Jews on the 14th of Nisan, a month later. But he was born on the, so there we have the connection between Moshe Rabbeinu, between Adar and Nisan.
Should we be upset the 30 days for Esther to
30 days.
sooner?
No. This was a long period. No. The decree was a couple. It was a year before. I mean, when was his lottery? You're asking me.
Well, the lottery.
The lottery occurred.
And he said, I'm gonna kill all the Jews. And then she went.
The lottery occurred
on
2 years.
Pesach.
The lottery occurred 2 years before.
2 years before.
It was a long
Long period.
period of time. You Megillah, you're reading in 45 minutes.
Yeah. It looks like
You
it's
made
all
it sound like it happened in 3 months.
one-
This was a couple of year period of time.
and
I can look it up exactly. It's
we know
not. It's a
how many
couple of
died.
it. Yeah, Jews died.
I mean, how many do we know?
Sure, it's written. Yeah, it's written. But ultimately, it survived. That's why, till the 13th, in actuality, till the 13th, it was tough. It was tough for the Jews until the 13th of the month, because he couldn't nullify the decree. As you read in the Megillah, the decree couldn't nullify it. Only Jews could do. The Jews could stand up and fight for themselves. But the decree was still in effect. It couldn't nullify one decree over the other decree until the 13th of the month. Correct. So really, from the beginning, really, from the beginning of Moshe Rabbeinu's birth, that's why it's important, Moshe Rabbeinu's birth in the situation. Moshe Rabbeinu's birth, Zayin Adar, that happened his birth, which is not celebrated, is actually celebrated his memory, immortalized more his death, right? Zayin Adar is more remembering of his death. It's a day of fasting. Not his birth, because his birth is really something that brought about more than we can imagine in the world. His birth, the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, what Moshe Rabbeinu, it's because not important per se the day he was born, but what Moshe Rabbeinu's birth brought about is more than just a day. The Yortzeit is a day. The birth is more than just a day. Therefore, we don't per se celebrate a person's birth after his passing. We celebrate his birth before he passes, but after his birth, we celebrate the passing of a person. Besides, by tzaddikim, we can celebrate also their birth after their passing. Because what is the meaning of one's birth? What is the meaning when somebody is born? Why do we celebrate somebody's birth? Because we're celebrating potential.
Yeah.
We're celebrating the potential of a person. What is his potential? And the truth is, we celebrate every year a birthday because hopefully we come to make a cheshbon every year on our birthday to did we accomplish our potential? And what are we missing to accomplish in the next year? Really, the concept, really, birth should be a sad day because the day you're born is the day you're closer to your passing, right? Let's hope in 120 years. So why do we celebrate the birth? Actually, the Rebbe wanted the people should celebrate their birthdays because the birthday reminds them of their potential. Why God brought you to the world. Why did God bring us to the world? Whether it's 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, why did the Eibishter brought me? What was the potential that God brought me to the world? What did God want to accomplish with bringing Zalman Booker to the world? And every day I wake up and I say, Baruch Hashem, in a way I've not finished my potential because I'm going to be here another 120 years. So it's going to go on and on and on.
Well, you're gonna have a list of movies to watch on that. Because I'm trying.
So let's look at
Along.
the text number 11, the Medrash, a beautiful Medrash. Now, Levi offered a parable. Two ships pass each other on high seas. One has just departed, and the other returned to port. The departed ship has embarked with great fanfare. The return ship is not celebrated. A wise person observed, what should have been, it should have been reversed. The departed ship should not have been celebrated because nobody knows where she'll be docked. What challenge she'll find and what kind of storm she'll encounter. The ship returning to port should have been celebrated because we know what she departed in peace and returned on high seas in peace. So why are we celebrating? That's what we celebrate because we know what he had accomplished. We know after 120 years what the potential has accomplished. It's hard to know what the potential has accomplished as the ship is in journey. The ship is in journey, then the ship needs to do something. The journey needs to have a potential. Journey should have a potential. Not only the journey should have a potential, the potential should be unlimited. You shouldn't say no potential to say I've accomplished my potential. Right? That's expression by Chochmah. If somebody says I've acquired wisdom, he doesn't know what wisdom is. Right? Because we need to accomplish our potential. When do you know your potential has been acquired? The day you passed away. And hopefully your potential has been acquired. That's why by Chabad, we don't give eulogies at a funeral. Because what are you going to say exactly? Does anybody know? Anybody really know the potential that has been acquired? Does anybody can know that what you're going to say was his potential? And that's the reason that the neshama came down to the world. Who can say that? The only thing you say is Chilib. The only thing you say is Psalms, that the Eibishter knows the potential of this neshama, and ultimately that the potential has been acquired in the world. There's one person we can be sure that the potential was acquired, and that was Moshe Rabbeinu. That was Moshe Rabbeinu. See, Haman know if Moshe Rabbeinu's potential was acquired. Haman didn't know. So Haman said, I know for sure he died. But I don't know if he was born. That's the meaning of Haman. That's the meaning of Haman's statement. That's the meaning of the Gemara statement. The Gemara says, Haman knew that he died, but he didn't know that he was born. Haman knew that whatever Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to be to whatever, he's not here anymore in the world. A Yid knows Moshe Rabbeinu. A Yid knows what Moshe Rabbeinu brought to the world. A Jew knows. Moshe Kibel Torah Messina. A Jew knows that Moshe Rabbeinu brought to the world. What did he bring to the world? He gave the world, and especially to Yidden, he gave them unbelievable vessels, unbelievable tools to accomplish their potential. Rabbeinu gave us wisdom, he gave us faith, he gave us the Torah, he gave us unbelievable tools to accomplish the potential. And therefore, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu, Zayin Adar, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was, thank God, was born in Adar. Moshe Rabbeinu brought his potential when he was born. He was born with a potential. He accomplished his potential. And that's why he says, today I've finished my journey. I've accomplished. I gave you everything I received. Gave you everything that I have. I cannot come and go anymore. I've done everything. I've given you everything that you need to overcome every situation in the world. Now you got to do what you got to do.
A sign on a building, we remember perfectly when and achieve much. Remember, Moshe.
Yeah, I don't think it fits into this class, but I'll take
We
it.
all realize we all can achieve much. Even if we
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, yes, yes.
Could you repeat
Well,
the
the question-
question?
That's the question.
Oh, I thought somebody asked a question,
No,
sorry.
he said a joke. It's not a question.
Well, same thing, no. Wait, can I ask you, Rabbi Bucket, I don't think you answered my question, or if you did, it kind of went over my head. What
Okay.
is it about Adar? What spiritual potential that preceded Purim was in the world? I don't even know if the Avos had. Did the Avos? They celebrated everything. I don't think.
Moshe Rabbeinu was born. That's what's the beauty. Moshe Rabbeinu
Okay,
was
so
born.
prior to Moshe Rabbeinu, was there an energy just like prior to?
No. The energy
Because
started.
we know that the Avos were celebrating Pesach. So does that not apply to Purim?
Not Purim. They celebrate Pesach because Pesach was a God's holiday. But they didn't celebrate Purim because Purim is a rabbinical holiday.
I
And
see.
Purim was established through Moshe Rabbeinu ultimately. By Moshe Rabbeinu's birth. What does mean Moshe Rabbeinu's birth? By Moshe Rabbeinu's potential coming to the world and his potential happening in the world. We all have Moshe Rabbeinu within us. I think the classes that Rebbe once say that ultimately we all have Moshe Rabbeinu within us. And we have to bring about the Moshe Rabbeinu in the world, and to accomplish that, to bring it this aspect, to continue this aspect of bringing about something that is transforming in the world. Rabbeinu brought to the world. He brought the concept of transformation to the world. That was his potential. That's what he brought to the world. In this world, he brought a concept that is totally transformational in a very practical way. And that's why Purim will never go away from the Jewish nation. Because Purim symbolizes the concept of natural transformation, not miraculous things from above, but natural transformation, that we can transform a negative into a positive. That only us can do in this world, to transform a negative into a positive, not through great miraculous events, but taking the potential that we have, taking the miracle that's within us, and transforming it in the natural world. And that's the beauty of Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's the beauty of Purim. It's also the beauty of Pesach, which is coming up, which is a Nes Milamayla. Ani Hashem, Ani V'lei Malach, Ani V'lei Shliach. The Eibush himself comes and reveals himself. But that's really Purim. That's why Purim precedes the holiday of Pesach. Because the more we are transforming here in this world ourselves, we'll be able to have a geula, a revelation, a redemption from above. If we're waiting for the miracle, then it doesn't happen. We need to have our Purim. We need to first have our Purim. And this year, it's even better. We have 2 Purims. We need to have 2 Purims. So we have to realize the power of this year. Rebbe says in text number 12, in so much as positive energy of a birthday transcends the earthly plane, it cannot be experienced directly and celebrated joyfully in our realm. That's the problem. Its power is largely concealed and exerts its influence from a distance. And therefore, why? Because every birthday, what we do celebrate ultimately, is really our potential. We're celebrating another year of potential. That means we have to go higher. That's what the expression in Yiddish, a year älter, a year klüger, a year older, a year smarter, a year frimmer, a year more involvement, more spiritual. That's what the celebration of a birthday is. The celebration of one's potential. That potential ended on the day of one's passing. A day of passing is both a happy day and a sad day. It's a happy day for the soul because he accomplished his potential, hopefully. We hope every soul accomplishes their potential. It's a sad day for those that are here. But for the soul, it's a happy day. It did its potential.
So the 14th of Adar, it's a good.
100%. It's a good day today. It's a good day today. Right? Because it's a transformational month. It's a transformational month.
So he's gonna do it the first month of Adar?
60 days. Any days. Today. Don't wait till tomorrow. How then, look at text number 13, I'm sorry, page 93. How then does the Talmud state that the righteous die on their birthdays? For a tzaddik, the concept of death is true boost for their mazel. See, a tzaddik doesn't look at death like we look at death. For it's then that they strip off their clothing of the corporal body and don the spiritual rabbinical cloak to enter the upper chambers and bask in God's Shekhinah. When a tzaddik is born, they descend into the world and reach great heights through engaging in Torah mitzvahs. They try their potential. They accomplish their mission. A tzaddik doesn't stop. He doesn't get hindered by his mission. He doesn't get hindered by he doesn't get hindered by the struggles of his mission. Tzaddik is focused on his mission, on his potential. Day by day, as it says in Avraham Avinu, it says, Baba Yamin. Avraham Avinu came with his days. Never missed a day. He understood every day had a potential. Every day had a mission. On the day they pass, they reach even greater heights than that. For the day of passing is greater than the day of birth. Thus, they pass on their birthdays, their birthday, for that is indeed the greatest boost of their mazel. To a tzaddik, and I believe that to a tzaddik, every day is his birthday. Rabbeinu ultimately passed away on his birthday. But if you understand this concept, the truth is that tzaddik every day is his birthday. That's what most tzaddikim didn't pass away on their birthday, their actual physical birthday. Rabbeinu needed to pass away on his physical birthday.
Why?
Because you wouldn't have Purim if that wouldn't have happened. Look at the passing.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So Haman wanted the concept of passing, because to him, he looked at the passing as a passing, a death of a tzaddik. The man died. It's a sad day. He didn't look at the birth of the tzaddik. He didn't look at the birth of the tzaddik. He looked at the and he thought it was good for him. If it would just been the concept of death, it would have been good for him. But the concept of death to a tzaddik is the concept of his potential. It's all integrated. His death and his birth is all integrated as one. That's why the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya that the passing of a tzaddik, if you understand the greatness of a tzaddik, his passing is just part of his living. His living is spiritual potential, so his passing is potential. And the proof is Moshe Rabbeinu. We live with Moshe Rabbeinu. Did anybody over here in this room met Moshe Rabbeinu? Did anybody over here have a conversation with Moshe Rabbeinu? We do have a conversation every day. Read the Torah. So we have a conversation with Moshe Rabbeinu. We're living with Moshe Rabbeinu. And trust me, we're living with Moshe Rabbeinu more today than we lived with him 500 years ago. Because how many people could learn 500 years ago? Right? You had to be a special, right? You had to have money. There was no books available. There was no internet available. There was no vast knowledge available. We're living with Moshe Rabbeinu every single day. More than them. Actually, today, only living the positive with Moshe Rabbeinu. His time, they were even struggled. There were Jews that had struggles with him. Yeah, you learn Parsha's Kairach, you learn throughout the Torah, they struggled with him. We don't struggle with him, we just live with him. We live in a positive way with him. His potential continues. His potential continues until today. His death didn't bring an end to his life. His death actually brought a great existence to his life. An unlimited existence to his life. And the truth is, that's what Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to impress upon us Yidden, that there is the physical existence to life and there's the spiritual existence to life. They need to be interconnected, that you need to live a life that you can overcome all obstacles. You don't got to run away from life to come over obstacles. You don't got to do crazy things in life to come over obstacles. You can actually live a normal life and come over obstacles. If you connect if you connect in a normal way of life, you have the capability to connect to a higher way of living, a Torah way of living, a godly way of living, in a normal way. The hapach, he can transform everything. We have transformation to actually Pesach, how does transformation happen? Through destruction. How does transformation happen on Purim? Miraculously. The natural way of life, things are transformed miraculously, seemingly naturally, but they're really miraculously. Why? Because there was simcha, because there was concept of joy. We have the capability now through joy to transform everything miraculously. So therefore, that's the beauty that actually concludes the Sikha. The Rebbe wants to tell us that this is the only Parsha that doesn't mention Moshe Rabbeinu's name. Because it's a date of his death and a date of his birth. Because it's really who Moshe Rabbeinu is. When you say the name, you lose who Moshe Rabbeinu really is. We get lost in the name. We have to think in this week's Parsha who Moshe Rabbeinu really is. What is Moshe Rabbeinu to the world? What is Moshe Rabbeinu to us now? And that's why he says, Va'ata, you, who are you? That is what the pasuk says. So actually, when not mentioning Moshe Rabbeinu's name, is actually mentioning Moshe Rabbeinu even greater, because it's talking about Moshe, who he really was. What was Moshe Rabbeinu? His name. No, what Moshe Rabbeinu brought to the world. But he affected the world. Not only affected the world by giving the Torah to the world, he ultimately affected the world this month. He transformed the world, and especially the Jewish world. And that's why ultimately in halacha, if you have a struggle today, today is a time to change it. Is the time to change all our struggles in life. Even if you have a fight with a guy someplace, now is the time to change it. That's the analogy. For surely you not have a struggle with this guy in a court case. You should have your personal struggles. Change it. You can bring light, like Yehudim, you can bring light into the situation. You can bring joy into the situation. You can bring beauty. This is the month. Don't squander the month.
Hey!
Don't squander away the month. Don't lose it. The Rebbe says, this year you have 60 days. You have an extra month. Extra month to use out the month. This is the month that's connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. Next month also. But this month is really connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. His passing, his birth, his potential, what he wanted for the world is all revealed in this month. So all we need to do is, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us everything that we needed. We just needed to use it.
Yeah.
Bring a little joy in our life, and you'll see transformation in your life. There's no greater time than this month to bring Baruch Hashem transformation in our life.
Amen.
That's the Sikha of the Rebbe. Hope we learn the Sikha, we live the Sikha ultimately, the Sikha, the teaching of the Rebbe. Let us transform our situations bring light into our life, happiness into our life, and joy into our life. Let's transform our life. Let's transform the world. And Mirz Hashem, B'Nisan Nigalu. In the month of Nisan, we redeemed. B'Nisan Asidin L'Gal. In the month of Nisan, we'll be redeemed again. Mashiach will come and will change the world. B'Meira B'Yameinu Mamash.
Amen.
I want to welcome you all here tonight at 7:30. We continue the class, Meditation in Sinai. It's a phenomenal class. To those who saw it last week, you can come on Zoom or you can come here to the Chabad at 7:30 p.m. I wish you all a beautiful, wonderful, happy, and healthy day.